everybody. Welcome back to Gardens, the Untold Story. I'm your host, Ken Somerville, with my co-host, Andy Lopez, the invisible gardener, with his invisible hat flashing there. So, Andy, we're talking about controlling gophers organically.
Gophers, yeah. I don't know about gophers, though.
Yeah. It could be moles, it could be bees.
Hole punch. Did you see the comments? Portable hole punch. This guy wanted
I have an organic portable hole punch that will hole punch an 8mm hole in a gopher at 25 meters, 5 meters, if I'm holding my own beer. So I think that's like a 22 shell out of a gun or something, you know.
That's awful. I had a customer, the way he did, he said it was organic because he had a rifle. He would sit there, the gopher would stick his head, pop, stick his head up, pop. I can't do that. So I really tell people, you want to kill as a last resort. And if you're going to kill, please don't torture them. There are lots of ways, and there's lots of safe ways that you can kill something without having to kill everything else. And I'll give you a little hint. I'll tell you what you do to kill them if you have to towards the end. But towards the end of today's show, I will tell you absolutely simple, amazing way that I have learned from my experience. That's what I'm doing now at my place here, because the first month the gophers came and ate everything out. They ate the sweet peas, they ate the beans, I never see them eat sweet potato, the vines. Whoever heard of gophers eating vines, sweet potato vines? I mean, the potatoes are poisonous, so they ate the potatoes. These guys went through everything. So I started using this. I started doing a few things, and it really worked. So I'm going to go over that with you now and let you know what are the things you could do to control gophers. And I notice I use the word control because there's nothing wrong with having gophers. It's just having gophers in your garden, right?
Yeah.
You know? And one of the easiest things for me is, interesting enough, I have a cat. Well, this cat is not exactly what I would call her the hunter cat.
Uh-huh.
I had two male cats, and these guys would sit there and wait for the gophers to stick his head out and grab it. Mm-hmm. And they cost us literally just, I don't know how many gophers they would bring him home, torture them. Tell me who you're working for. Tell me who. It's like, we're going to take your guts out. Literally, they would take it out, throw it. I call it the tub of death, because I'll go to the bathroom and my tub will be body parts.
Yep.
So that's always an easy way. And, one of the long-term ways is, of course, to have wildlife. So that I have hawks, and I have owls. These are creatures that will eat the gophers. And so one of the problems that people are having, to say here in Malibu, and I'm sure they're having everywhere, is because the wildlife is no longer there. Who did that? What happened? What am I doing?
That was backyard banana quality, and I was just giving them peace sign.
Backyard, hi man. Where are you from? Backyard banana. Oh, Lily says yeah. Let's see what Lily says.
We had pocket gophers, then we got cats. Issue solved. Before the cats, we played some Celine Dion, and pocket gophers didn't like her.
So I went through a lot of my years of gopher control. In the beginning, when I didn't know better, I was a very bad boy. I threw some chewing gum down in there, and I used to see these gophers sticking their heads out, choking it with the chewing gum in the mouth, choking. I said, well, I'm not going to do that. It's torture. And of course, I didn't realize that if you put cayenne pepper in the gopher tunnel, they will come out with cayenne pepper, burned face, and it's awful. So I've learned from experience not to torture the animals. The easiest, if you have a gopher problem, you're really having a soil biology problem.
Yeah.
You really have it. It's interesting how the soil biology really controls diseases, and gophers is one, snails. All these things are naturally controlled, naturally controlled by the biology. So if you have an infestation of any one thing or any one creature is taking over, there's something wrong with the balance in the biology, something wrong with it. And usually that is the key that people ask me what I do about gophers. I said, well, tell me a little bit about what you do in your garden. You compost. You have any compost? No. Okay. So usually about 9 out of 10 people don't make compost. If they do, they buy CRAP, and that is the issue right there of why they have gophers. Gophers, like ants or any other thing, take advantage when things are out of balance. And that's when they have more and more gophers and holes everywhere because there's nothing to deter them. In nature, other creatures deter them. You know, you have even coyotes will grab them. You know, and
Oh
cats
yeah.
and cats will get them, and hawks and owls will do that. So one of the easiest things is to have an owl house out there, have a couple of owl families there. They'll take care of your gophers if they stick their little heads out of the ground. And if you don't have that, then you want to be able to see what's wrong with your biology and your property. There's something wrong, and the universe is telling you that if you have ant problem, right? The place I was at today, taking care of is on a farm. The gardener was watering I don't know how he said he waters 8 days a week. I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to tell him there were only 7, but I'm sure he said he meant that he was watering every day. Every day it was a swoosh swoosh thing, and you can see it. And the trees are there. Big giant trees that were landscaped a few years ago are covered with sooty mold and whiteflies. Sooty mold on one side, whitefly on the other side. And that is a nutritional problem. It's a water problem. That the water that they're sitting in is inhibiting their plant's ability to absorb nutrients. So yesterday was my first time I sprayed them. The control for me is to get the nutrition into the trees. Make the trees change the way they taste to the ants and the whiteflies.
Yeah.
Right, because the reason why they're there is because the ants say, this is good food for these whiteflies, because we can't attack the tree ourselves, but with these whiteflies are like little cows for us. They suck the nectar, and then we milk them for their nectar, and we take it back. Ants have two stomachs, one they eat right away, one they take back to the colony. And the nectar is what causes them sooty mold, because you would think the ants are nice and clean, they clean up, but no, they take everything, and they leave this layer of nectar, which the mold which is that bacteria, fungus, grows on.
Yeah.
So the real cost is not the ants or the mold or the whitefly. It's the nutritional level of the tree, which basically goes down to it's sitting in water, and microbes are not very good swimmers. That's the key right there. Okay, that's the key. So the sooner you get those conditions under control, controlling the water. The guy said, we have to water a lot. And it's true because they have no soil. I just talked to them today. They're ordering Layton, some of Layton's magic compost. And Layton's going to be on my show as a guest. I'm going to talk about compost. I'll talk a little bit about Layton in a moment, because the compost is a key issue here. Because if you was to get some of Layton's compost, it's one of the best. I call his best compost around, but I'm sure everybody who makes compost, they make the best, right? Everybody who but I made my compost that was the best. But that is the key to, if you want to control the gophers or ants or snails or anything in the ground, you have to have the biology, and you need to. The best way to increase your biology is to use compost. To learn to make the best compost with all the blend of all the biologies in there, whether it be worms or elephant poop or sheep, deer, whatever you got to get your hands on, and that's the first thing, because that takes the longest.
You need that organic material for the biology to be able to break down, and it's a living environment for them.
Right. So one of the things that on this farm, for example, they have been, just today they were dumping a massive amounts of leaves and everything. They were raking up into this trash, and then we're hauling it away. And so I'm getting them to buy a shredder so they can shred everything up, shred it all together, a little bit of manure, a little bit of this, let's shred it all together, let it sort of compost, and then put that up. Put it under the property, turn it over. And these guys, you don't just let it sit on top, because that'll take you 10 years. You want to turn it over into the soil. And ideally you also want to mulch it. Your goal is to get a slightly acid environment, which is the best environment for the soil biology. But they range, like we talked about last time. They go into quite a range, but that 6.5 is the one where they have everybody's there working. If it's too high on one level, you have less and less. Too low on the other level, you have. They get specific, they get specialized, but they're not the best for what we want. And so
We
we want
want
something.
balance.
That's right. We want something. It's a wide range of things. We want to balance this thing. Unless you're God or your Mother Nature, I want that specifically for that. You should say here, and the biology will figure it out. And so that takes a while. That could take years. I told these guys, look, you're going to have to be buying compost. You're going to have to learn how to make it, start making it, adding it. Well, right now you're not making it, so you're going to have to buy it. You have to buy it from people who can make it. Buy the best compost you get your little hands on. The money can buy it, because you'll be surprised that bad compost does nothing. It will do nothing. A year from now, you'll still be in the same boat, even if you're forward feeding it. Because I've learned that's one reason why I apply food. What's going on? Did I miss something?
Well, Andy is living up to his name. He keeps disappearing. Your hat is really, causing you to phase in and phase out.
Oh yeah, you people are just so picky. Okay, I forgot what I was talking about. I don't remember anything. Where am I? Who is this?
Well, I don't know, but Kevin says we have the ultimate organic control for gophers. We actually used to get paid to go out by the farmers and hunt the gophers. They hand us cases of 22 shells, and we go out and play loud music, because that would bring them up to the surface to check things out, and we just pick them off.
That's awful.
I know.
That's I can't do that. Like I said, I have a customer. That's what he does. He sits on his back chair. I said I had a customer, because I think it's awful when you don't pay respect to these animals. It's not, the gophers are not evil. They have done nothing wrong. They're there for a reason. And as soon as you tune into that, you can live. It's like, I may do a book called Dances with Gophers, right? Because my book is called Dances with Ants.
Yeah.
But I may do one Dances with Gophers, because we humans like to sterilize everything. So we want to kill the poor gophers, thinking that the gophers are evil, they're doing something wrong, when in reality, they're doing their job. And if you pay attention to the health of the soil, the gophers will be naturally controlled. The reason why is because the gophers say, there's nothing here for me to get. There's none of these grubs, because a lot of times when your soil is out of balance, you can end up with grubs, right?
Yeah.
And grubs. And so there are raccoons that come after grubs, and grubs are basically the worm stage of certain flies and certain other creatures. And they're only there because the soil is deficient, and they know that when they're born, they're going to have all this ready available food for them on all these plants. You see, right? And so if you want to really control, so the gophers are coming around for grubs, coming around for massive amounts of water. They're coming around for root systems or plants that are diseased. Normally the gophers would not eat your roots unless the tree is weak enough, and wham, they eat the roots. See what I'm saying, right? So it's like shooting the police officer for doing his work, when in reality you need to do your work, which basically quit killing things, right? Quit killing things. So in the long run, you want to promote life. So if you have a gopher coming around, you say, thank you, Mr. Gopher, for telling me there's something wrong with my soil biology, and I will work on it. 9 times out of 10, you're not applying compost, or you're not even making it, or doing anything. Or 10 out of 10 times, you're using chemicals. The biology is totally dead.
Yeah. Now, what Kevin says, though, 3 border collies, we only demanded 5 acres from them. They had plenty more, but he was talking that they had trained their collies to go out and hunt the gophers, just like your cat was doing, or the owls or the hawks.
Yeah. That's fine, because what happens to the gopher said, we better not hang out here. There's some dogs that are going to kill our ass, or the cats, and that's a lot better than shooting them, because shooting them, you kind of get some excited by killing things. I was never much of a hunter. I never did like killing. I would say, well, let's be equal. Give the bear a gun, and we can both face off each other and see But so in my business, I encounter people with gopher problems all the time. What can we do to get rid of the gophers? And I says, well, first you got to bring your soil back to life. What the heck does the soil have to do with gophers? Well, they live in your soil. They're in the ground. So that tells you there's something to do with it. And the ground, if you can't handle the word soil, the ground normally controls the gophers. One of the things a living soil does is promotes other creatures. You have lots of
Well, yeah, if you've got a living environment, you're bringing in the predators because they're coming in to look for food, and they're taking care of the gophers for you naturally.
exactly right. So that's the thing that's going on here in Malibu. Oh, my garden is being attacked by gophers, but I kill every hawk, everything I see. It's like any bird comes around, it's like they're dead. You know, what I mean, the coyotes, they hate coyotes
Yeah.
for some reason. Coyotes are perfect for hunters. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like you can't. It's a very weird mentality. So the best thing to do is get off of that train about killing things. You have to understand that Mother Nature was here first. All these creatures were here first before us humans decided to come around and do stuff. And it's not really our property; it's the earth. We're caretakers, and we have to understand that this is how Mother Nature works. So if you set up a food outside, something is going to come and eat it. Something will come and eat it.
And like Backyard Banana from
Yes.
Queensland says here, can you make nesting for owls like they do for eagles? And yes, you can.
Yes.
They've got all kinds of different
Owl
styles of
boxes.
nesting boxes. Yeah.
The owl boxes is just stay out. We shoot. We have a gun. You know. Yeah. And that's what you want to do. You want to invite owls to live there. You want to invite all kinds of other animals to come through your property. You'll find that they'd rather be in harmony with each other. The gophers are, they're natural predators, but they also go after when something's in balance. If they can eat the food and the food's tasting good for them, there's something wrong. Normally, the food would not taste good for them if they're healthy and they won't eat it. So that's the key right there to controlling gophers in the long run, is to really plant more. You know how we say more foot in the ground. Well, this is more roots in the ground. You want more roots in the ground. What I started doing here is I started planting medicinal plants. Whether it be chamomile, whether it be echinacea, whether it be, you name the herb, I'm planting those things. And believe it or not, they're leaving them alone. They're not eating them. So I'm planting a wide variety of flowers, wide variety of other things, with occasional vegetable in amongst the rest of them. You see, and my problem is a little bit compounded in that my soil is hydrophobic.
It's not allowing the water to get into it.
Right, so it makes it difficult to plant seeds in it, because you can water all you want to and the seeds are going, there's no water here. And so I've been adding compost to it, blending it together. What do runners do when they want something? They go for it. Oh no, she's back again.
Hi, Serena.
Hi, Serena.
She actually has a question, Andy. Okay. How long does biochar watered into a raised bed take to reach the ground before the raised bed needs it again?
Here it is. It's not that the biochar disappears into the raised bed and is no longer there eating up. The biochar will stay there forever. It's the biology that live inside the biochar. They will stay. That's why you want biochar in the raised bed. That's why I put it into my worm farm, because all the biology will also live in the biochar. They're not going to go anywhere. And the biochar doesn't dissolve. It provides a home for the biology living. So you have more biology coming out through your compost setup than you had before. It doubles, triples the concentration of biology. So you don't really have biochar flowing through you. If you make, so like for me, I do the worm farm. So the liquid that goes through doesn't have any biochar in it. You see, right? But if you're making compost, eventually you're going to use it, put it in the ground. So the biochar will go follow with the compost and be in the ground. That's what you really want. You want to inoculate your biochar with as much biology as you can. You do that by running it through your compost, right? Rather than adding biochar to the ground and turning it over. There's nothing there. Ideally, you want to inoculate it with your compost. Like when I get any compost I like, or Legends or whatever, I automatically blend it together with the biochar. In my case, I can add biochar to my worm farm, which is already compost. It's very, very rich compost. So the biochar doesn't disappear. It actually stays there. It's a really cool product that but only it only goes away when I take everything out and clean it, and then it's like it goes somewhere else. Well, it'll end up wherever I put it. I would like to take that stuff that's in the worm bin and slowly but surely start turning it over into my garden, because that'll cure it from being hydrophobic. But the real thing I would do with that is to wrap little chunks of it up in what do they call it? Wax paper.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Why would you use wax paper around it, Andy?
oh, wait a second. Can you call me back in a little bit? Okay. Can you call me back in about an hour? Okay, right.
So our gophers
Wax
are
paper.
strict to sandy loam soils only, and no, they're not. They'll exist in any type of a soil.
Yeah, in the desert and in the highest mountains. It's just different types of gophers.
Yeah.
Different variety. And then you have moles and voles, or all the different kinds of creatures that normally tunnel through. And that's what the parchment paper. What I do is I end up wrapping it up and having this stuff and try to bury it, so keep it in a cool place, and I can use it later. That's the reason why I do that. So 6 months later, it still be good, provided I take care of it right. You know what I mean? It's like I wrap it up and put it in a cool place, not in a hot place, because it will degrade if I leave it alone. And the best thing for me is to make a tea out of it, because that's my business, right? So when I get a lot of stuff, I make tea. You can make one little thing out like that, a worm compost, can make me 100 gallons easy, and still get plenty of stuff left over to make more. But you think you use a little bit, you say, oh, it's done, throw it away. No, make another batch. You keep making another batch and make another batch, because the stuff just keeps on coming out. And if you can see through it, you'll see that is one of the ways you can tell is that pour some in a jar and let it sit for a few days and see what it does. You'll smell it. You go, whoa, because if there was nothing there, there's nothing to smell, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I make my stuff differently. But I learned that that's one of the things I do when I go to a customer's home and they have gophers. I have a deep roof feeder that I spray my stuff directly into their tunnels.
Okay.
There's more biology in the tunnels. And one of the things I've learned to do, I said I was going to tell you guys at the end of the show, but I don't like that. Stay to the end of the show, and I'll tell you the real reason why you're here. That kind of stuff, right? Here, what I started to do was using castor oil. So I use castor oil for everything on my body. I use castor oil, coconut oil together. Sometimes I use lavender oil. Sometimes I will use citrus. Sometimes I will use the oak tree oil. There are different kinds of things that you can put on your body, because I like it.
Soft skin, you know.
Yeah, like that kid's so soft and so wonderful. But I was they sell a couple of products that are made from castor oil. One is a ball that you can throw it into the tunnel. The other one is a gallon of castor oil. So you take the castor oil, wherever you see the tunnel, the secret is to make sure you put it into the tunnel, not on top of the tunnel. It has to be inside the tunnel. Because so what I do is I have a broom, just punch a hole right through there. You can feel it goes right through it. You're in the tunnel already. Pour about maybe half a cup of the castor oil down in there, cover back up again. Let them come in contact with it. Because as soon as they get in contact, get it over them, and they don't like that, and they leave. I mean, they haven't come up to me yet and say, what are you doing? Look at this mess you make. But, if you ever had castor oil on you, that stuff sticks around. You have to lick it off or do something to get it off you, see? And right now I have an occasional gopher who will come around because you live in the country, and they'll go, oh no, castor oil again, and leave it alone. The instruction says to add it to a natural soap and spray your plants. You have this coating of castor oil on it. I understand that will keep the rabbits and other creatures from eating your plants, but that's because they get diarrhea. They're mammals; they eat it, and they get the poop. I didn't want to give it to my cat because I don't want to put it out there because my cat would eat it. And a long time ago, that happened to one of my cats, and the poor guy had diarrhea for a while because I accidentally left some castor oil around where they got it on and they tried to lick themselves off, So they had a whole bunch of castor oil. They were like running the poop everywhere. So I figured that's not good for them. But
Yeah.
castor oil work, and the other thing that works really good that they also sell on the market now. Again, these little balls, but they're made with essential oil, peppermint oil, lavender oil. So what I did in my youth, I would take cotton balls, and
Right.
I would soak them in an essential oil. So whether it be peppermint, a couple of drops of peppermint, a couple of drops of cinnamon. No, I don't like using hot. Oh yeah, well you can use hot peppers without the you don't need the pepper dust, the powder. You just use the hot peppers, right? So you can give it. You can put a little hot pepper into their tunnels. They eat that. They go, whoa, yeah, whoosh, right? But I have seen these guys eat my peppers. I had these peppers. They're called ghosts. They're really super hot. It went down. The plant shook. Literally, it was shaking. And it went down. And I said, let's see if he likes it. And I don't know if he ever came back or left, but that was Ghost. Ghost is one of the hottest peppers on the planet. It's called Ghost, Ghost.
Yep.
And he ate it. And so I think maybe he decided, I'm out of here because I'm not going to eat that. But so there's what you do is you key into a couple of things. One is you key into the sense of smell. So you can use any kind of essential oils that you can get into the tunnel. Lots of ways, like you can use it with the cotton ball, or you can like the castor oil is a real easy way. I like the castor oil because it sticks to them. You can actually add some of anything where you add. They actually have a liquid cayenne pepper that you use as a ointment on your skin. It's for circulating your blood. So you can put that in there. You can put a little bit of that in there too. The lavender.
Now, Andy, you mentioned earlier you poked a hole with a broom into the tunnel, so you're not putting it in where they're coming out in their mound. You're actually putting it into the tunnel itself.
Well, the mound kind of tells you where the hole ends. And you can literally take a broom brush and go right down in the mound, and it will whoosh, sink into where the tunnel is.
Yeah.
So you pull it out, you pour it into the tunnel. You can't pour it on top of the mound. You can't move it aside, put it on top. Because you want them to get it inside the tunnel. So when they go into the tunnel, they get it on them, and that's what you want. And it doesn't do the castor plant happens to be a plant that you can plant, and the roots are toxic to them. The problem with the castor plant is the beans are volatile to heat. So you have these beans, and they go boom. So I don't think you want that over here. Anything that burns like that, But so the castor oil is the easiest, the simplest way to, and it's the cleanest. You're not killing it. It's just annoying the heck out of it. When I was a kid, yes.
Would eucalyptus mulch be helping as well?
Well, the eucalyptus mulch doesn't really bother them that much because they don't eat it. They won't eat through that because it's really the eucalyptus oil is too toxic for them. You might be able to get it into their tunnels. Would be more useful, so you have that eucalyptus smell. I don't know how you would get the eucalyptus oil from the leaves. But the eucalyptus, I buy essential oil of eucalyptus, and I basically put a drop into the castor oil. And that's the switch. That's the thing I do. Is 1 month I use eucalyptus. Next month I use pennyroyal oil. Another month I use lavender oil, citrus oil. They hate vanilla. Vanilla is toxic to them. So vanilla, and you switch it around, and they can't get used to it. Another thing that I mentioned briefly is basically when you use Mother Nature against it. So there are lots of things you can plant that will kill them if they eat it. One of the things I learned, and this is very interesting, to paper white narcissus.
The what?
Paper white narcissus.
Okay.
It's a bulb. You ever see the little thing with little white things on top? There's a bulb that goes up like that, little white on top. It's called paper white narcissus. Right? You plant them around your property. The gophers are attracted to it and they eat it and they die. And it's effective year after year. It gets more and more. They spread out. And so basically, a friend of mine had a 10-acre farm, gophers everywhere. I had another friend buy 10,000, 14,000 paper white narcissus bulbs, planted them right next to each other all the way around. If you planted something like this, the gophers will go straight through it. But you have it like that, and as they grow, they get really big and clumpy, the real deep roots. And the gophers are attracted to it. You see them dying everywhere. And what's cool about that is that another animal can eat the gophers. That's one of the reasons why you don't want to use the poisons, because a hawk eats it,
Yeah,
a
you're
cat,
killing the next set of animals. Yeah.
you're killing that too, right? So, but if you use it as something natural, it's not going to transfer. So I always thought that if a gopher, say paper white narcissus, and another animal ate that, they die too, but the body of the gopher digested all that stuff, is no longer there for them to pass on. So paper white narcissus works really well. It takes a long time to really be strongly established. And there's one more plant that's really, really interesting, and that it's a native to California, right? It's a
Okay.
it's actually a California. So this guy took a California native plant and hybrided with another plant from Ireland. So now you have this is technically a California native, is a species of a California native. It's called Curripia, Kuripa, and you can actually
Okay.
plant them. And once you plant, they as a lawn alternative, so it's a ground cover, and you'll find that. In the beginning, you have to water like everybody else, but once they get established, once a month, maybe once every other month, and after a while, maybe once every a year, you water. Eventually, you don't water if you get any rain at all. But these guys, year after year, become toxic to gophers. So the first few years, there's nothing there. But so they have roots that are 10 foot down. Gopher has to go through the roots to get past them. And the older they get, the more toxic they become. So after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, nothing goes through them. The gophers cannot get through. That's one way that you can just plant around, and it helps you with controlling your water. That's what we're doing on this farm here. I'm going to introduce them to sections of where they can plant Curripia, and they don't have to work like daffodils. Paper whites are a type of narcissus, right? So that's why it's called Lily. It's called paper white narcissus. See, that's why they call it that, paper white narcissus, right? But it is a narcissus. It's a bulb, narcissus bulb, toxic, and there are lots of toxic bulbs out there. I learned about them because they're also toxic for kids to get in their eyes. Uh, 8 through 11, exactly right. I'm in 11. Yay!
Yeah,
Yay!
we're in like three,
Yeah, yeah. You're not
three
even
A.
you're not even in the top. You're even not even in the right soil. You can grow them indoors. That's for sure. So there's so many.
Yeah.
A lot of the bulbs are toxic. You learn that you have children. You can't let them chew on it. What it does is that it numbs their breathing, their throats and stuff.
Ho,
Here
ho,
you go.
ho.
No, the garden doesn't say ho ho ho. That's Santa. That's Santa says ho ho ho. Oh, you're
Yep.
getting them all mixed up now. I'm confused.
Yeah. Santa has no gophers because they won't live that far north.
It won't live that far enough. So there are a couple other things that you could do if you're crazy like me, because I bought big giant speakers and I would put them take them out of the car, put them on the ground, lay them down, boom, 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 boom. They really hate Grateful Dead or any of those hard rock things because they
Celine
vibrate. So
Dion, they run away, man. Celine Dion every time.
it's a Cecilia like hard rock or something, or is it just a high
Oh
pitch?
no, it's just I was watching because we had gophers, so I was looking for different ways to get rid of them, and everything the guys were doing, nothing was really working. So the guy he dug a hole, put a bucket down, put a speaker in it, and he played Celine Dion, and within a couple of days he had no more gophers anywhere.
So
Just
so
remember frequency and vibration.
yep,
That particular frequency of her
yep,
singing, they just couldn't
yep.
stand and they just left.
And that's really the thing to do, is to find the right album or the right song that will just freak them out, because that's the easiest way to do that, is to play the
Yeah.
music into the ground. So I got one, like I said, one of those big ones, and plug it into my truck and lay it down. You can feel it on your feet. The vibration shaking the earth, that's a big deal. It's like an earthquake. But yeah, if you find the right song, you can actually sell that. This will get rid of your gophers. Just what is that? Penny, pebble, or
That's yeah, she's laughing and crying at the same time. She's laughing so hard.
sorry, Penny.
Well, Celine Dion's Canadian and she's got a beautiful voice. It's just that particular tone in her voice just they run away.
Exactly right. Exactly. The trick is to find the right song. Like I said,
Yeah.
I like playing Grateful Dead because they didn't like that. There's certain things in. That's why I said hard rock. Sometimes hard rock. The musicians are playing these really high pitched stuff. I bet you they would have paid. Uh, the people who play those really amazing guitars because they have a certain pitch. The drum thing is also vibratory. You get this
Mhm.
vibration thing. Bum 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 bum. They go, holy cow! Right? And it was just anything really super loud, they will definitely get it. They will definitely hear it.
You
I'm
might
out of
chase
here.
your neighbors away though as well,
Yeah, this
or
is
they'll
not
call the
something that
cops on you anyway.
this isn't anything that they normally hear. So they will just leave.
Yep.
And that's really I'm glad you brought that up because I have to basically bring some speakers out to my garden. I have to fit.
Mhm.
I was thinking of a way like a more of a permanent thing that I could do, and I think I'm going to put some. I have to get some outdoor speakers that can handle being outside,
Yep.
and through Wi-Fi, so I can connect it to a Wi-Fi. And it's just a matter of playing the right music that they don't like,
Hmm.
and you'll find that different animals like different things and they hate different things. So you're going to find, but I think that would be the secret ingredient towards the end to do. Is just play and don't play nice soft music to them. I think waltz and those things. Even there, you might be able to find the right pitch, the right sound, because that's the key. You find the right sound, the right frequency that they hate, and they will leave. They hate it because they don't like it. It doesn't feel good for them. Something's wrong
Yeah.
here. You see what I mean?
Well,
I would
it's
love,
how they hear as well because
yeah.
it's damaging their hearing. And yeah, if somebody's playing loud music in your ear and it drives you nuts, you're not going to stick around for it.
And if you have super sensitive hearing,
Yeah.
because these animals have super sensitive hearing, super sensitive sense of smell.
Hmm.
Right? That's why I use the essential oils and stuff like that because they'll smell and they go, They also have the hearing ability. They can hear all kinds of stuff. And I'm glad you brought that up because I probably would have missed it. But that to me would be most obvious, right? Just put your
Yeah.
speaker out there and just play it to the ground, right? You'll be surprised. You may have to do it once a day or something, just maybe after a while, once a week. You do it once a month, oh, it's still there, right?
Mhm.
and I actually like that approach uh, because it's very natural, very clean, doesn't kill anybody, makes them all disappear. I did that for deer. Used to, I would get people speakers around the property. They hate the deer coming down for the roasts. Well, they have a motion detector. They go, the music comes on when the deer starts walking into the garden. And
Yeah,
sometimes,
I know people that do that kind of thing for cats. They put up, motion detectors that, shoot water at them and all kinds of stuff.
Well, people will call. This one lady called me up and says, "I did landscape everything. The cats in the neighborhood come over here. It's my big giant litter box. They just scratch everything and poop everywhere. What can I do?" I said, "Well, get a music box, put it out there with its motion detectors. Every time they come near, the box music would turn on and play some loud music over this. Yeah, whatever, and that would definitely do it. But also." She got lots of calls from the neighbors. What the hell's going on out there? That kind of stuff. So
Well,
you
you
may
look
want
at Canada in a lot of the fruit orchards, they have shots that go off, so like a shotgun shell, and it's that loud bang, and it chases the birds away. It's the same principle.
exactly right. Exactly right. I told somebody to get a foghorn and take it out there with her because he's afraid of coyotes and stuff like that. So take
Mhm.
it out there. They're gone. They're
Yeah. Oh
not.
yeah.
They're not going to stick around to see what the heck that was, right? So yeah, using the sound is actually one of it's going to be my top preferred way because you do have to pay attention to the soil. You can't say, well, I'm just
Mhm.
going to keep them away and ignore what's going on with my property. But
Mhm.
if you can respect other creatures and tell them no, and in such a way that they get it, and they'll go somewhere else. They'll go to where their property, that people's properties are really bad as well, and they'll deal with them. And you'll have good property. Eventually, they'll come back and they won't bother your place at all. But
Yeah.
those things take time, and so that is
Mhm.
the ideal way to keep them at bay, keep them away. Is do get a outdoor. No, don't do. Do you know that pepper is a half piece FP. What did she say?
The genetics of peppers come from the peas, so that type of plant is been bred into the peppers or vice versa. So I think it's just a genetic similarity where the pepper plants have came from this other plant or vice versa.
One of the things that I did earlier in my use is that I would make a tea out of lettuce, for example, or any of the
Mhm.
herbs. I would get chamomile tea, or we get peppermint tea, spearmint tea. Spray them on plants. Spray them in the gopher tunnels. The rabbits and squirrels didn't like them because they smell like pepper or whatever. They don't peppermint and didn't eat it. That's also very good too to use the scent. But I really, really think it's a really ideal way to control animals is to you give them a sound. You're being harassed.
Okay.
Your dog talking.
Lily came down, and did you know that peppers is half peas, as in the letter P is it's Pepper. So there's three P's. So I think that's what it was supposed to be.
Half
But
peas. Well, it is half peas.
so Serena did want to have a question here. What's the difference between gophers, moles, voles, and groundhogs? Do you have an answer?
Groundhogs are big creatures. Think of small little pigs, only bigger.
Yeah.
That's a groundhog. And they basically are like squirrels, but in the ground. Put the thing back up. I remember where it was. I forgot the other.
Gophers, moles, voles, and groundhogs.
Right, so moles and voles are very similar, except that one's blind. The voles are blind; they can't see anything, and they go after their body shape is completely different. They have little funny fingers in the front that do those things, and whereas moles are not, they're not totally blind, and they go after an entirely different type of food. Gophers are the bigger guys that dig the tunnels. These guys look big. So I happen to have voles out here too. They're really tiny, smaller, very about half the size of gophers, or third the size, easily of gophers. And they don't do very much damage as the gophers that go around destroying things. The voles and moles, they're actually beneficial to the garden because they aerate the soil. They
Yeah.
dig little
Well,
tunnels.
moles, I think, because Lily was actually, we were talking about this just a couple of days ago. She was telling me something that a mole in an overnight, so in 8 hours, can dig like 20 feet deep or something like that. It's just unbelievable how far they can travel underground in like an 8 hour day.
Yeah, they're diggers. Exactly right. Gophers tend to stay in the top 3 feet. Moles and voles. Moles are the deepest ones. They go way down. They have a whole city down there. The whole city. They very rarely have to come up. They come up for food, for water, for music, for whatever else they need. And they all if you have an infestation of any one animal, then you have a soil problem. There's nothing wrong with having these creatures live on your property.
300 feet in one night.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. That's insane. That they must be going through the coffee. What does it say?
I like what Cake says here. Why have humans not trained gophers to mine for us? Yeah, exactly. Right.
They do, but they don't bring back what we want. They'll bring back some dead worm or some piece of this or some other stuff, and you go, "That's not what we want. We want this shiny gold stuff or this other stuff." They go, "We don't eat that." That's the problem. That's the basic.
Yep.
So anyway, the bottom line is don't kill. Really, just don't do that.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to survive without killing them, and they will eventually leave you alone. They will if you make it so there's nothing there for them. But remember, they're looking for food and water too, and so it doesn't hurt to provide food off to one. That's what I do. I feed them off in the corner there. If you want to eat, there it is over there. I've been teaching the birds to leave my seeds alone by giving them bird food. And the squirrels, they have a little sign-up sheet, whatever food they want, I go get it for them. And so there's gophers and moles all over the place here. So you have to hit upon that balance where the property is healthy enough that it doesn't, and you have so many things growing in there that the voles and the moles and the gophers are not going to bother you at all. That's what you want to do. You can't get it to the point where you have one gopher and it freaks you out. Let's kill a little bastard, right? And fry them. So you have to work, you have to learn to be kind to them. You'll find that they will somehow acknowledge that. They will leave your place alone in the long run. But if you start fighting with them, you're going to lose. You will lose because the more of them, they're us. Same thing with the ants. So you have to get it to the point where you have your garden. So if the garden is such a bad space, your gophers are overrunning. So protect it with wire. So when you build a raised bed, you have gopher wire underneath it. When you plant in the ground, plant with gopher wire. So you can plant stuff in the ground that's protected with this gopher wire. They won't eat it anymore into the roots, and then the roots come out from the cage. So that's one solution if you really, really have a problem. Killing them doesn't work either because you can't kill the whole neighborhood. Yeah. In the whole neighborhood of gophers. You can't because you kill a couple of gophers. Next you know, Charlie and Luis died. Let's move in there, right? And then they'll move. Didn't I just kill? No, you didn't kill me. You killed my cousin. You killed my other cousin. You killed George. You killed Jolena. And then Julie, look at her. She's only 12 years old. You killed her too. So no, you didn't kill me. So
well, I like the flowers that the guy planted all the way around his field. That it might take a couple of years, but it's solving the problem totally.
Right. He's out in San Luis Obispo, and he says he sold it to another customer who her name was Olivia Newton-John. She recently died, but she had 70 of these pictures of all the paper white narcissus all the way around it, and the only thing that they should have gotten was a beehive because it definitely attracts the bees, and then the gophers go for it for some reason. They go, oh look, and they eat it and they die. And I say, look, if you want to kill yourself, hey, go for it. I get it, go for it. Get it?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Go for it. So I don't mind if the other thing I planted was it's called society garlic. Do you know what society garlic is?
Nope.
There's a form of garlic.
Okay.
It's like a bulb, and it goes in the ground, gets really nice and big, and when you cut it, you smell the garlic. And it's like a big bulb underneath. It's not for eating, but you plant those on the edges, and what happens is that they eat it, they smell like garlic, and the wife doesn't let them back in again. They went, no, you're not coming in here. Sorry. Go with your boys, have some beer, come back later. You're not coming in here. But no. Because it does smell like garlic, and it doesn't kill them. I think it just prevents them from digging further through your property.
It's the odor and the pheromones, etc. That are interfering.
Yeah. So they're going onto your property because they know they have food there for them. That's the main goal. They'll go after grubs. They go after all the kinds of creatures there, and the roots of plants and trees that are decaying and weak is food for them. So that's the thing. If you take the food away from them, they're going to go where the food is, next door, some other place. Try to bring back the local natives, which are the animals. Get an outhouse, if you have a cat, and don't kill your coyotes. Just bring your dogs in, let the coyotes run wild out there. I go up Deer Creek. I go up to a place called it's up and it's basically it's coyotes running around all over the place, poop everywhere. So I take that poop, and when I can't, they don't like me to pick up. I said, I'm just taking poop. I'm taking it to my garden, putting it in the gopher tunnels. What? No, we're not allowed to take anything from here. So I don't do it too much because I get caught. But if you take the coyote poop, put it in the tunnel, they think the coyote's in there, and they'll go away. I used to in Florida. I used to go to the zoo and get lion and tiger poop. What are you going to do with the poop? I'm going to put it in the gopher tunnels. And the gopher, I don't know what this is, but we're not staying around. So
well, because you think any predator has a different scent than a herbivore. So these herbivores, which are gophers, etc., they get that whiff of pheromones, etc. And probably they're shaking in their space booties.
Yeah, and I guess you don't want to go as far as I did because I would pee into the tunnels. I figured, hey, they'll figure out. They'll think I'm in there with them. I used to go to a barber shop and get cat hair when they would give
Yep.
cat grooming or dog hair. Put that in there too. I love it when the Sioux says we're having come see our animals get haircuts. And I said, well, give me all the hair you got, and put that into the tunnels because they smell it in the tunnels. The other thing that you can add to it, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is to get vanilla coffee beans. Put that in the tunnel because you know how coffee smells, right? So the vanilla is toxic to them. You put that into the tunnels, and the beans stick around a long time. A lot of times, you know you're doing the right thing because you'll find all the beans have been pushed out of the tunnel. They're all lying on top. And a little note: don't do that, please. This is our home. Leave us alone. We were here first. That kind of stuff. Like, oh shit, right? So, but you put a rock on top of it, so you know they can't take it out. But that's the thing you have to do is to make your property really super healthy. You're not going to have a gopher problem. A gopher come through very nice. You can also learn how to repel them through various different ways. Sound is one of the most creative way of doing that. It's the safest. You should have to be careful with your own pets, right? And with your neighbors. I would have it so the sound goes into the ground, not everywhere. So if it goes into the ground, it gets muffled. They would hear it, and you'd be surprised how effective it could. I read somewhere a guy had gophers, got rid of the neighbors once too. Neighbors gophers, they just left. They said we're out of here, right? And so that was just playing music. Like I said, I played Grateful Dead a lot, or I played a lot of these really hard rock and roll with the hard band, the hard boom sound going to it. I might just make it. Oh, Happy Days?
No, heavy bass.
Heavy bass, right, exactly right. Right. I was actually thinking I might do a gopher repelling song. Let's see what this will get rid of. Play this to get rid of your gophers. I'm not kidding. I think it's such a good idea to have something like that to let people know. Yeah, music will do it. Yeah. If you play the wrong music, you're gonna have more gophers. That's the problem. You make nice music, you're gonna have a whole bunch of gophers sitting around with their families.
Hey,
yeah, honey, look.
Got their lighters and yeah, man, keep playing.
They're playing our song.
Yeah.
What is you guys having all kinds of? I can't read everything you guys are writing, man. What's going on here? Ask me that question the one that's very good question. What was the one before that? To each frequency and see what it worked. Yeah, try different frequencies. Try different frequencies.
This one here. Are there different frequencies for controlling each of those 4 underground pests, or is it the same frequency for all of them? And Lily, let's see. Good question. I'd say you'd have to try each frequency and see what works. Then she went use a sonic vibration device. Those small batteries or solar operated devices emit a periodic sound that humans don't generally notice, but is said to irritate both moles and gophers. Basically, that's what they were talking about.
1,000 megahertz is actually a universal frequency that people don't like, animals don't like, and there are a variety of universal frequencies you can play that you wouldn't like either. So you have to, make sure you play stuff that's not going to affect you because you couldn't get near the button to turn it off. Oh my God, I get there, right?
Yeah.
But you'll find that if you find one that they will work on everybody, whether it be gophers or birds, even insects, even ants will stay away because it's the same frequency that really does the thing. Irritate. If it irritates you, it's going to irritate everything else too. And so you have to be careful about that, not to irritate yourself or have the guy come out next door shooting with a gun because he's had enough, right? So that's very heavy stuff that you're doing when you're doing sound. So the easiest way to do it is just to play the music, play that crazy song, and you'll find that if they go away, then just remember that song. But I would find some other songs. Get a variety of songs that work because they will get used to it. They will get used to the sound. You play it over and over again.
So Backyard Banana wanted to point out bamboo makes a lot of vibration in the ground from the canes constantly knock against itself in the wind. And Cake says they did the bamboo torture in Vietnam. I don't know. You might have heard of that, Andy, since you were in Vietnam.
I didn't participate in any bamboo tortures.
Or you weren't tortured with bamboo that way anyway.
I have not tortured any bamboo.
And Lily says, play that funky music.
But that's what in other countries, they find things that they normally make sounds with, whether it be flutes. Yeah. I made a raised bed once, and at the very top part, I had a wine bottle sitting up, and that was part of the bed. And I poured water into each of the wine bottles so that the wind would blow over and make this sound. When the gophers stuck their head out, not only the gophers didn't like it, but the birds and other creatures would naturally stay away. It would be like a very strange sound for them to listen to. So,
well, like I said, when we were hunting gophers as kids, we would take the pickup out. We put speakers on top of the pickup, start playing loud music, and the gophers would come out of their holes to see what was going on, and then we could take care of them. But we never considered putting the speakers on the ground to drive them away. That's something I only heard about years later.
That was too nice to be able to put in the ground drive. You really just like, shoot the head off. Yeah. Shoot the head off.
Well, hey, we used to get free ammunition, free practice in shooting. And, the farmer would actually pay us by the tail, 50 cents a tail for the gophers, because it was in the cattle fields. So the grazing fields for the cattle. And, they'd have cattle stepping into the gopher hole, breaking a leg. So, they really wanted to get rid of the cattle.
It's a lot better than using poison. It certainly is. Yeah. It certainly is. So that's really, so if you did that, that's great. Like I said, it's a lot better than using poison. People put poison out and they kill everything. Sometimes the gopher doesn't die. It's everybody else dies.
Yeah.
It's okay to try to, because gophers are like ants. Everybody seems to have a gopher problem to deal with, and they have to learn how to deal with. Just got to remember, you're not going to get rid of all the gophers or all the ants. You got to find a better solution than killing them, because we've already been doing that. We've been going around killing everything, so it doesn't work. What works is that you somehow figure out a way to communicate with that gopher. Hey, we're all in on this together. You want some food? I'll give it to you over here. Or yeah, dig me a hole over there. After a while, it doesn't. I'm hoping that the gopher will go, well, he's a cool guy. We're not going to eat his tomatoes today. I mean, this gopher came and took a bite of my tomato, threw the tomato away, and said, eat the whole thing. What are you doing? And my cat's looking at it, laughing at this gopher, and they're both laughing at each other and going, great. I have a kitty cat that likes gophers. He brought a baby gopher home one day. What did I do with this? Give it back to the mommy. Okay. What's TNT? Oh, no.
Dynamite.
Is that the name of a group?
No, that's dynamite, brother. TNT.
Yeah, no. So what are we doing next week?
I'll have to bring it up on my desktop again here. Just hold on.
Here's what we're going to do. Those of you guys that don't have my book, you can get the ebook version of it. Just send me an email. I'll reply right back with your ebook and attach to the email.
The Truth About Weeds, and that's not next week, Andy.
No,
that's in the new year. It's Christmas next Wednesday, so we're taking next Wednesday off.
Well, New Year's.
Being the season 3 after January 1st. Just to let you know, we've got Mr. Vila back on with Leighton on Monday, talking about Bokashi. We're actually going to get into that conversation this coming Monday, so you guys are going to want to check that out. So, Andy, you have something else?
Are we going to be here for New Year's? Because that's New Year's the following Wednesday.
No, it's Christmas this coming Wednesday.
Yeah, then the following Wednesday
is the 2nd. So that's not New Year's.
So it depends on how drunk you are, right?
Well, I don't drink, Andy, so I'm going to be fine. So, but if you want to take the 2nd off, we can take 2 weeks off. That's up to you, brother.
I'll let you know. I might do that.
Okay, well,
I might go somewhere. Maybe I'll go out in the backyard and hang out for a week.
Hang out with the Gophers.
Hang out with the Gophers for a week. Get to know them, and see if we can reach some agreements. I think. Do you think they eat peanuts? Because I would give them a peanut. Here, have this peanut, man.
I would
Right?
think they probably would. Squirrels eat peanuts.
I think I might just start doing that, feeding them some peanuts and see if they like it. Maybe that could train them to go with next door neighbors and harass the next door neighbors. I got you,
And
Ken. Cake in a
Serena,
cup.
happy birthday on the 29th. I just had mine this last
Happy
Saturday.
birthday, Serena.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. I'm having mine in February. You don't want to know how old I'll be.
You're still 20 years old, Andy.
I'll be 21. 21.
Yep. Oh, you'll be legal. Finally.
I'll be legal. I'll be legal. So I'll see you guys next week. Happy
guys.
Organically, of course. Bye now. Bye.
We'll see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.